Welcome to the Monday Morning Maester. I am your 2-bit Maester, and winter is coming before the Battle of the Gullet. A couple winters, in fact. Let's go. Okay, map recap time for Season 2's finale, Episode 8, The Queen Whoever Was. Super clever title. Let's start here at the Golden Tooth. This is a scene that we started at a couple episodes ago. And what do we get in this episode with the Golden Tooth? Well, Lord Jason and Lord Lefford do not kill themselves, and they move on eastward from the Golden Tooth. That's all we got. Okay, so let's go over to Harrenhal here and talk about everything that transpires there. I think for the second straight episode, we get the best scenes at Harrenhal. Sir Alfred Broom. Let's talk about him for a hot minute here. We got this guy under the spotlight. He's like an RPG character that's not discovered any fast travel locations yet. He certainly travels the slowest out of any person in Game of Thrones history. He finally made it to his checkpoint here at Harrenhal. And the first thing he wants to do after giving, reprieve after reprieve for just basically slandering and smart mouthing his queen, the first thing he does is encourage Daemon to take the throne for himself. Daemon I honestly thought Daemon was going to gut him there. But he just gives him that vague, cheeky smile that we have no idea what the man's thinking. So not good stuff there for Sir Alfred. Let's just say here that Rhaenyra's small council in general, while we wait the 2 years for the next season to come out, it needs a complete overhaul. No one's really effective at their job. Again, Corlys, let's give Corlys his due time. But everyone else is incompetent, and all they do is think about themselves. A lot of ego here, a lot of narcissists on Rhaenyra's council. She needs some fresh blood. I've spoken about that before. She needs some outside talent. Okay. So definitely going to be some job wrecks on the board here between now and season 3. Sir Simon Strong. Let's talk about our buddy here because, again, things just get better and better for Sir Simon. He is getting all of the praise and flowers online, on the internet for his performance. The man's absolutely stole it this season. I almost would nominate him in just as like a general like MVP instead of like rookie, best rookie MVP. Like I almost want to take the rookie tag off of him and just give him the straight up MVP. He's been that good, charismatic, kind, caring, and loyal, right? Probably the most important thing that you could really ask for someone in this show and in this universe is someone that's loyal. He's eavesdropping. And do you think that man has lost any of his hearing ability in his older stages of life? Absolutely not. That man's got him some extendable ears via the Weasley twins, catching that conversation between Daemon and Sir Alfred. He instantly alerts his queen. And before we know, we got Rhaenyra pulling up on like a super slanted, like a staircase or a hill. I almost didn't even know what the fuck she was landing on. I swear to God, Harrenhal looks different every time I see it. And it somehow, despite it being unless I'm very much mistaken, the youngest castle in Westeros, it looks like dog shit. It looks like it's a castle that's been sitting there for 20,000 years and it's on its last legs. I get it. All the towers were lit aflame by Balerion during the conquest, but overall, the castle just looks rough. And I really just would love to see somebody spend the coin and fix that place up. HGTV style, Westeros edition. Rhaenyra pulls up, talks to Sir Simon. You want to talk about overhauling your council. And again, I know I kind of shit on a lot of her council's elderly, right? Let's get some young blood in there. I know Sir Simon wouldn't check the youth perspective or the youth box on that resume. But the man, again, is loyal. Again, if this is like a tryout episode for Rhaenyra's small council season 3, I think Sir Simon Strong's done a great job. I think he's made his case. I think the man has sat in the shadows in like that dank, wet halls long enough. Let's get that man an upgrade here. Let's get him a better bedroom. And let's get him on Rhaenyra's small council for season 3. I would have that picket in my front yard. Rhaenyra Targaryen, Simon Strong, 2026. Sure, why not? Why not? I'd co-sign that. But yeah, they have the conversation there. Naturally, from Sir Simon's perspective, there is going to certainly be talk. Is the man a snitch? Right? Is he kind of a rat? He's not. And as he's made it clear throughout, again, it's not that he's kissed Daemon's ass this season. He's not done that. But he has made it clear that Daemon is the king consort and Rhaenyra is the queen. Okay. So he follows that action, by alerting her and telling her what he heard. Again, I can't doubt him for what he heard. He's hearing the conversation from further away, and he's probably not catching it from the beginning. So naturally, it sounds like Daemon might be in on this. Daemon's not. Rhaenyra shows up and she's ready to just call Daemon out, right? This is at this point 8 episodes of bullshit, boiling water, steaming up, bubbling over the pot. And she's, I got a dragon, right? I'm not sitting here at Dragonstone waiting on ship and then buggy. I've heard enough. I've seen enough. I'm getting on this dragon. I'm coming to Harrenhal and we need to talk face to face. She's just sick of the bullshit. She honestly sent Sir Alfred out there in something that she could have done in, I don't even know, like an insanely reduced amount of time than what Sir Alfred did. Like Rhaenyra could have done that herself. I get it. She's got to watch where she goes. And as soon as we see Daemon and Daemon's walking on the screen and naturally, oh my God, what's going to happen here? Is Daemon going to try to take the throne just for himself? And I'm saying as he's walking up, he's going to bend the knee. And sure enough, 10 seconds later, he bends the knee. Look, we'll talk a little bit more about what he saw in the tree, in the weirwood tree. But I think Daemon's finally given up the game. He has finally killed the boy and let the man be born. That's what I think he's ultimately done here, guys. I think he's finally just said, all right, all of the nightmares here in Harrenhal about, do you really want the crown? Do you really want it? We don't want it. It's been given us. We've had to do what's best for the realm. You are the only one here that actively seeks it. And it's I think Daemon just finally gets it. I got to do what's best for my family here. I got to do best for my wife. And we got to just win this war. The selfish bullshit needs to stop. So I do think he's finally put it behind him. They draw this out a lot more in a TV show. Does he have thoughts and ambitions to be the king? Sure. Of course he does in Fire and Blood. But they embellish it a lot more in a TV show. I think he realizes that King Consort, again, I know Daemon's got a little bit of Dwight Schrute in him, does not like the surname to his new title. He needs to come to grips. This is really just the best that he's going to get. I mean, seriously, this is the best that Daemon's going to get. King Consort, your kid, well, it's, his kids are not directly in line, but he does have full-blown Targaryen kids, male heir, yada, yada, yada. So I think he's finally put it behind him. He bends the knee. Elegantly bends the knee. Not a kiss. No kiss between him and Rhaenyra. But he does give a very rousing little mini speech there and gets the crowd real hyped up, which I thought was really cool. We get to see the River Lords finally with swords above their heads chanting for Rhaenyra. A nice, albeit long, conclusion to the Harrenhal POV here. In this season too. Guys, it's been long, right? And I'll share my general thoughts about the season at the end. It's been so drawn out at Harrenhal, and Daemon has been absolutely just putting this is the diet version. This is the diet Coke, diet Mountain Dew, whatever your sugary drink of choice is. Daemon's been the diet version of himself this season. We've even seen him wilt at times in situations where he would have burned, right? Lord Amos Bracken, the first time we see him, when he's got Blackwood next to him. Old Daemon's torching that dude. A lot of the shit that the people say from the River Lords that march in the middle of the night, yada, 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 right? Tully's in the last episode, et cetera, et cetera. Again, Daemon's been bastardized this season, so hopefully we unleash him here. But I thought that was a nice little conclusion there. I am happy ultimately that he and Rhaenyra are reconciled. That can't keep going on like that we get so drawn out. Again, so a nice little conclusion there, a nice little mini speech by Daemon. And finally, a cherry on top for the Harrenhal POV. Thank the 7 gods, the old gods, any god, whatever. Let's talk real quick about what Daemon saw, and probably maybe a little bow on top there for Alice Rivers. I know there's more to Alice Rivers in Fire and Blood. I'll be curious to see what happens. Does she march out of Harrenhal with them? I don't know. But, will she be in the story going forward? We'll see. Again, we know what happens in the book. Don't know if that's what's going to happen in the show. She gets Daemon out of bed, and I think she finally realizes that, it's time for Daemon to put his hand up to the wood and talk to the weirwood tree and take a look into past, present, future, whatever. All the stuff that we remember from Game of Thrones. We get a little glimpse of Bloodraven, a younger version of Bloodraven than what we see in Game of Thrones whenever Bran goes north of the wall. Bloodraven is arguably one of the most important characters, if not the most important character in A Song of Ice and Fire. We've seen more of what he's capable of in the TV shows at this point, Game of Thrones, and now we get a little glimpse of House of the Dragon. I mean, I'm sure he's that important in a book, right? But we've been waiting here for 13 years for Winds of Winter. Look, they showed Bloodraven. I thought that was pretty cool. That was one of the two things I had spoiled to me before I watched the episode, unfortunately. In the grand scheme of things, you know what? There really wasn't that much to spoil because not a lot of shit happened. I saw that Bloodraven was in it. So yeah, we get a glimpse of younger Bloodraven, right? He's got the Targaryen hair. He's half Targaryen. He's half Blackwood, which I'm going to go into weeds here for a second. It's super cool to see how he rivals Bittersteel, who is half Targaryen, half Bracken. So again, you get the Blackwood Bracken, rivalry there, even between those two, that brood. But again, getting way off into the weeds here. Let's pump the brakes a little bit on that. What else did Daemon see? Dragons dead on the ground, dead bodies on the ground. Daemon falling into the water. That's interesting. And then again, the thing that everyone got, everyone got really excited about Dany. Dany, oh my God, Dany's back in the episode. Dany's back in Game of Thrones. It was literally the back of a fucking stunt double. I don't know why everyone was so excited. It's not like that was Emilia Clarke that went back and donned the garb of Daenerys Stormborn. It was a stunt double, and it was like a picture of her like as she is at the end of the season 1 finale of Thrones. People were getting so excited. Oh my God, Khaleesi's back. Like I'm just Khaleesi's back. It's a fucking stunt double. It's a stunt double. And it's a shot from season 1 of Thrones. It wasn't like a newly made recorded scene. So, okay, whatever. Again, I think what it's showing there is that, Daemon seeing the importance perhaps of himself and his line and being a Targaryen. And he's going on this selfish side quest here this season and in season 1. And I think it's ultimately time for him to just put that away, and it obviously gives him a lot to speculate about too. And I think he just realizes that he needs to saddle up with the missus and pursue the Iron Throne together. Was that a green man that he saw, briefly walk around the tree? Yeah, probably, with the horns on its head. It's said that the green men are children of the forest-like creatures. Basically, they go to the Isle that faces there in the God's Eye to protect the last of the weirwoods. Certainly some of the southernmost weirwoods in all of Westeros there, because they're actually in the Riverlands. I just don't want to get too much into weeds with that. That's not some of my favorite stuff that's in A Song of Ice and Fire. That stuff certainly wasn't some of my favorite stuff that's in Game of Thrones. Anything that's involving the children of the forest, like I guess maybe in general, like there's like a small like interest there, but I don't care to like get too deep into the lore with that, because I just never know how much they're going to implement that into the show. Is that a one-time thing that we see children of the forest or green men or any of those type of like creatures or characters that we come across? Again, I just don't know how important or prevalent that's going to be, so I don't want to waste too much time talking about that. But if you have more interest in it, you can certainly go and check that out at Wiki of Ice and Fire and check out the Isle Faces. I'll talk more about the green men there. Real quick about Bloodraven before we went on there, before I got distracted about the Isle of the Faces and the green men. Bloodraven's way more interesting than them. And again, I know that maybe they're like a little bit adjacent there, but Bloodraven for me, again, like I said, he's arguably one of the most important characters in A Song of Ice and Fire. That's very true. Incredibly accomplished guy. We'll see, going forward how important he is. You're going to actually see his physical form in A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. I'm not sure if they casted his character yet, but he takes place during that time frame, like his actual physical body. I know we see like what he turns into north of the wall when Bran comes across him, and I know we saw a younger version of him in Daemon's vision. But we'll very much get that man in kind of like the prime of his career, maybe a little bit. I don't know if he's a little bit past it. He has a very long career. He's a Hand of the King for a very long time, Master of Whisperers. He has a crazy journey north when he is sentenced to the wall, and eventually he becomes Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. He actually has Dark Sister. Dark Sister is his blade, the same blade, Valyrian steel blade that Daemon wields that will eventually be in Bloodraven's possession. Like I said before, his mom's a Blackwood, his dad's a Targaryen. Bittersteel, his bitter rival, is half Bracken and half Targaryen. So again, they always find a way to shoehorn that rivalry in there, which is a lot of fun. But yeah, he goes north of the wall, becomes commander of the the Night's Watch. And then on arranging, he is lost. And eventually we see kind of where he turns up. So you kind of almost wonder, like, did he get lost on purpose, or was it an accident and he stumbled across, that cave and everything that takes place there with the three-eyed raven. I always have thought of Bloodraven as someone that knew what he was doing when he got lost on that ranging. Easier to pass that off and not have people hunting you down trying to kill you. People maybe just wondering, like, will he ever come back? Right? Because if he tries to, abandon the Night's Watch, that the penalty is death. So probably easier to get away with it if you go north on a ranging and just he got lost. No one's out there trying to remove your head from your body. So again, I don't want to get too much into Bloodraven. Again, that's kind of just like some bullet points about him. A super, super interesting character that his story will be etched across our TV screens here sooner or later. I'm not sure if we'll ever get the Blackfire Rebellion on Thrones. I'm sorry, as a spinoff. I feel like you never see it referenced or mentioned. I fear that it's too similar to the dance. And maybe that's why they may never make it. So again, we'll at least get some portion of Bloodraven. Again, long career. We'll see him in A Night of the Seven Kingdoms at some point. But that's it with the Riverlands. That was very long and probably over discussed. So I apologize for that. Let's move on. All right, let's fly up all the way north from Harrenhal. We're going to take the high road, baby. I'm not going to take the high road, though, in this little rant here about Rhaena's character and everything that we've seen in the past 3 episodes. Guys, she's been like a mini drawn-out version from Daemon. Okay, Daemon's been drawn out at Harrenhal. Rhaena has been super drawn out in these last 3 episodes. I complained before that she only gets 1 scene an episode out of the last 2. Well, they give her like, 3 or 4 in this episode. And each scene was like a hockey shift where she was out there for 45 seconds and it was back to the bench, next lineup. We didn't, again, it's somehow ever since she left the Eyrie, how has she not had like finally like the conversation, if you will, with Sheepstealer and bonding with Sheepstealer, right? Because again, like I said, she is without a doubt absorbing Nettle's character. I saw Ryan Condal dance around that and say, well, I don't know. It's, a bunch of him and Han. I can't really say if that's where this is going or I don't know. X, Y, or Z. I saw him like super, super deflecting about, is she absorbing Nettle's character? She's without a doubt absorbing Nettle's character. Are we to believe that the reason that they left off there with those 2 staring at each other in that little meadow, Sheepstealer and Rhaena, one needs a rider and the other one needs a dragon? And what, is Nettles just going to drop out of the fucking sky at the beginning of the next episode and just challenge Rhaena? A duel to the death for Sheepstealer? Obviously, it's going to be Rhaena and Sheepstealer. There's no discussion there. I feel 100% about that. There is zero doubt in my mind. The fact that they had 3 or 4 scenes for her in this episode and they couldn't at least give us, like, there was no excitement in this episode at all. It was so fucking boring. It was a fine episode. I would even venture to say a good episode, but a shit finale. You could have at least given us Rhaena atop Sheepstealer. You could have given us that. And they didn't. Again, through 3 scenes or whatever, we still don't get any conclusion to that little shitty arc that they put her on since Rhaenyra sent her out from Dragonstone to the Vale. That's one of the biggest disappointments I've had so far. Is that, like, and again, in the grand scheme of things, does it mean a lot? I don't know. I mean, it could. It's a dragon and another rider for Rhaenyra who's been stacking them up like poker chips over the past couple episodes. But again, they could have given us that. So disappointed with that little arc there, and also too disappointed in like exploring Lady Jane. I just felt like there was more meat on the bone there. I really like the actress that's playing her, cast like a really interesting disposition, just seems like kind of nasty and mean, and someone doesn't take any shit. So I just wanted to get more from there. I wanted more clarity and conclusion with Rhaena and Sheepstealer. Didn't get it. See you in 2026. Let's fly south down from the Eyrie, and we're going to go all the way here to Sharp Point, which is the seat of Lord Bar Aemond, a seat there in the Crownlands, as we know, directly sworn to the throne. However, they are on Rhaenyra's side. We see Aemond just straight up having fun with them, like a kid burning, an anthill he's just sitting there and just absolutely ignited that town there on fire. And he just sits there and basically just sent a message, probably feeling a little small after last episode, after he has to hit the brakes and the brakes and the e-brake, pull the fastest U-turn we've ever seen a dragon make at the end of last episode. Yeah, I guess that's about it. He just pissed off and wanted to prove a point, so he went and just lit up a small little town like the bully that he is. Wasting dragon fire. Okay, I'm not sure what the cost of dragon fire is in Westeros right now. Not how much coin that costs, but I can't imagine Sharp Point being like a super important locale to waste dragon flame on. But again, that's who Aemond is, and that's kind of what Alicent gets to here. And we'll jump over to King's Landing next whenever she's just like, dude, you just are pissed off. You're mad, so you act out and go there and just light that place up. All right, so let's go down to King's Landing here, and let's just continue with Aemond. Pretty interesting conversation with Alicent and Helaena. He obviously wants to employ his sister's services and her dragon, and she's not having any of that, which I'm not surprised of in the slightest, just because that's not the kind of person they've portrayed Helaena in these 2 seasons. They very much showed her as more of like an academic, but like a super like weird kind of academic, like someone that would major in divination, maybe like in Harry Potter, someone like that, like a Trelawney kind of character. She's just different. And I know the portrayer in Fire and Blood, they say that she bonds with Dreamfire when she's 12. And that's like her favorite thing to do is to ride her dragon. Now, riding your dragon around Blackwater Bay and, flying it into battle like Meleys and Vhagar and Sunfire a few episodes back are 2 completely different things. You may enjoy flying through like the wispy clouds and taking in like the super cool vistas over Dragonstone and Dritmark and Claw Isle. But again, whenever someone's spitting fire at you, that's completely different. So she may like to ride her dragon. Doesn't mean that she wants to ride it to war. And again, that's in the book that they reference how much she likes to ride. We've not seen her do anything like that in the TV show at all. So it would be really out of character if all of a sudden she goes full blown like Dany in Game of Thrones season 8 and decides to just unleash hell on everybody out of the fucking blue. Just because she, I don't know, rolled an 8-ball and saw what her future held for her. Like, again, that would not be in character for Helaena. She's fighting it. She doesn't want anything to do with that. I don't think she particularly likes her brothers anyway. Certainly not going to, go and carry out whatever their orders are and whatever, fire and damage and just destruction that they want her to deal with. She's just not going to be a part of that. Alicent at this point, she doesn't want any part of like her sons at all either. And she steps in a way, tells Aemond, we're not doing that. And Aemond eventually just gives up. The one-on-one conversation that Aemond has with Helaena is arguably just as good, just as like dramatic as the one is when Alicent's involved. The one-on-one that he has with her is really good because I think that's just like the realest we see Helaena in like all 2 seasons here, where she's just not going to let Aemond step all over. Every time he throws something at her, she deflects it. She goes and tells him that, it's not going to change anything, right? Aegon's going to sit the Iron Throne again, and you're going to be swallowed up in a God's eye, and you're going to be dead. She drops the bomb on him that she knows, I know what you did, motherfucker. All right? I know what you did. Saw what you did. You lit him on fire, and you let him fall. Helena's showing off her Green Seer abilities. I'm not sure exactly how Helena's doing it. Is she just like that? They reference her being like a dreamer. I don't know. But again, we got people out there like Alice Rivers out there and people that can see stuff apparently, or even without themselves, their physical selves being there. So again, Helena's in on that. That doesn't do Aemond any favors. And again, he just completely loses another verbal sparring match to one of his family. Aegon and Larys, an interesting little duo there. Maybe not the first 2 people you'd pick to go and rob a bank. But again, intellects now, right? We got to think with our mind. That's what we got to do. Tyrion Lannister would have been a great, tripod to this little threesome here. He would have been perfect. Can you imagine those 3 great minds working together to solve a puzzle or a mystery or whatever? Look, we finally get Aegon out of that room. I was getting sick and tired of seeing Aegon held up in that room. Now they're just in like this little litter leaving the city and he goes into hiding. So they're leaving King's Landing and we're leaving King's Landing too. And I'll be honest with you guys, I'm not mad about it. All right, let's talk about our favorite dynamic duo, Sir Criston Cole and Sir Gwayne Hightower. Holy shit, these two. What, again, just an awesome little buddy cop film here we have with these two fine fellas. I have a couple things to unpack with these two here. So they're taking a little break in the woods, and Kristen's obviously wrinkling up a little letter from Alicent, and we see Gwayne. He's just had enough. He's gone full on hinge. He tried the cheeky, snarky asshole approach to Sir Criston. He's realized that doesn't work, so he's just going to pull the sword out and put it over Kristen's neck and say, "Do you know anything about honor, sir?" It's actually a really good scene between these two. And we've seen these two again. We saw them exchange barbs with each other early on. Then we get to the point where we're pressing on Duskendale and then Rook's Rest, where we actually see Gwayne, his attitude and behavior change towards Criston, where he starts to understand that this dude's fucking nuts. This guy's crazy. And I realize now this isn't going to be someone I'm just going to be able to like bully around and push around. Like, this guy legitimately like would kill me, and he probably would kill himself like in battle and just, again, not even care. And we even hear him allude to that here is, you know, we're walking into our annihilation, right? And there's a small part, you know, wouldn't that just be a relief to die? And Gwayne looks at him like, what a bleak philosophy. I don't have a philosophy, right? Like, it's the conversation was a really, really good conversation between these two, where Gwayne's pissed. He wants a reaction out of Criston. Criston doesn't give him a reaction. He remains really calm, which is very unlike him from what we've seen from Criston Cole. And I don't say that in a bad way. I think it's a good way. It shows a lot of range for the character that, you know, again, maybe a little bit older now. You know, we've seen him when he was young and super, super hot-headed, bashing skulls there at parties. He just remains calm, and it eventually just diffuses Gwayne. And then Gwayne at the end just sits down next to him on the log. I thought that was really well done. Again, these two up there with Simon Strong have been some of the bright spots, I think, this season in House of the Dragon. And I primarily say Criston and Gwayne together. It's, again, funny. I brought up before how we just don't have any funny dynamic duo comedy, you know, even like dark comedy characters that can like rub off of each other, like Tyrion and Jon Snow, or Tyrion and Bronn, you know, the Hound and Arya, Jaime and Bronn, right? Jaime and Brienne. These people that are paired together that just don't really like each other, but again, they're on the same team. We've seen that with Gwayne and Cole, right? And have done a really good job. Thrones was awesome at that. We've not seen much of that in House of the Dragon. And I've really enjoyed the scenes with Gwayne and Criston this season. We've seen some good stuff from Gwayne as well, just talking to Alicent in the courtyard. Freddie Fox is probably overqualified to be playing this role, but he's doing it so well. I'm happy to see he made it through the season, and that we're going to get more of him in season 3, because he's been phenomenal as Gwayne. He's shown a lot of range. You know, arrogant asshole douchebag to loving, caring brother, to, you know, again, loving, caring brother that's about to whoop some ass, or maybe get his ass whooped. I don't know. Maybe it was a good thing that he put that sword away. Not sure. We've not seen Gwayne in combat yet, but they've been one of the few bright spots, I think, this season. And I've liked what I've seen out of Criston as well. He gets a lot of shit online just because people don't like what the character does to, you know, Rhaenyra and other people that are on Team Black. You can't deny the guy's been a great character on the show. At times, very much a villain, right? And despicable. But again, he's shown some at times too, again, like some gray areas. And it's the thing that's, you know, I think he came in a decent guy, and then eventually he gets swallowed in by the evil beast. And then he just wears that like a cloak for a long time. But every once in a while, the man does pull the curtain back and lets a little bit of sunshine through, just a teeny tiny bit, to where I at least, like, you know, again, enjoy him a little bit. Wouldn't say I don't root for him, but I enjoy his character. He's not a Ramsay or a Joffrey or a Mountain. I saw someone say that a few weeks back. Who's worse, Joffrey, Ramsay, or Criston Cole? Don't even fucking joke about that. It's not even close. Criston Cole shouldn't even be on that list. So bravo to those fine folks there, to those gentlemen, those two knights. All right, so let's take a look down here towards the Dornish marches, where the old Dorne joke there from Gwayne Hightower to Sir Criston Cole that we get in episode 3 when they first meet, it rears its ugly head again. And I say that because I made a video, like a 1 minute, 15 second video after that, like explaining the Gwayne Hightower Dornishman joke to Criston Cole. I had forgot when I made that Alicent says in episode 1, when Criston takes his helm off, she just proclaims, oh my God, he's Dornish. He's Dornish. You know, like it's the first Dornish person she's ever seen, right? She probably had picture books growing up in Old Town of this. These are the 3 different kinds of Dornishmen: salty, sandy, and stony. And she'd finally seen her first Dornishman, and it just absolutely just blew her hair back. But again, as we know, he further on has a conversation with Rhaenyra whenever she knights him for the Kingsguard, that he, you know, grew up as a Marcher Lord, or in that area there, and fought off Dornish incursions. In the book with Criston Cole, there is nothing Dornish about him. I can promise you that. There is nothing Dornish about Criston Cole. Okay, being in the Dornish Marches does not mean that you are Dorn. It is the exact opposite. Okay, he grew up there as the son of a steward in Blackhaven, which is the seat of House Dondarrion. Do you guys remember Beric Dondarrion from Game of Thrones? They are sworn to Storm's End, okay, and House Baratheon. There's nothing Dornish about them. They fight off the Dornish every single day. Every day they draw breath, they are making sure that the Dornish stay out of the Stormlands. They despise each other. Okay, there's no gray area there, really, in the books at all. About, you know, Dornish want people loving, you know, Marcher Lords from the Stormlands and Marcher Lords from the Reach. There's no gray area there. They despise each other. So the TV show makes a really lazy creation, in my opinion, because they don't do anything to build on it. Yep. They're like, yeah, Criston Cole has Dornish ancestry in him despite being a Stormlander, right? His nationality is of the Stormlands despite him having some Dornish blood in him, meaning at some point his mom or his dad came from Dorne. Okay. That's a lazy show creation, in my opinion, because, again, they did nothing to build on it. They bring it up one time in the pilot, and they don't say anything about it again until Gwayne makes a joke at Criston's expense. They could have done something with it. Right. And I think that they're probably like, how do we make this guy more divisive than he already will be? Well, you know what? Dorne hasn't bent the knee to the Iron Throne yet. So let's throw this little wrinkle in here. And we're also going to make him, you know, appear Dornish. Right. Despite there are stony Dornishmen that have more of an Andal look, like, you know, white with like light features, blue eyes, et cetera, et cetera. You know, like the Danes or the Ironwoods, pretty much all of these houses here that, you know, are right around the borderline. Starfall is where House Dane is. High Hermitage is a cadet branch. Ironwood right there. Skyreach. I'm getting into the weeds. The point that I'm trying to make here is that they wanted to make him, I think, more divisive by having Dornish blood in him, growing up in the Stormlands, and then him being around like a bunch of Hightowers from the Reach. But they never talk about it. Like, you never see anyone cast any shade at him or make any remarks. So again, that's why I think it was a lazy show creation. They did nothing to build on it. They could have, and maybe it would have been something unique. But again, probably pretty unnecessary. Again, it's just, they never ended up doing anything with it or using it. So, you know, people were very active on that video. And there's the card there in the top right. I'll just put it there. And it is funny. There's a lot of takes on it on did Gwayne know what he was calling Criston Cole in that moment? Did he know that, again, did he just think that the Dornish Marchers are in Dorne? Or is he looking at Criston Cole's appearance and surmising that he has Dornish blood in him? However, he grew up in a Stormland. So you know what would really piss him off is if I call him Dornish, right? Because again, you see at the beginning of their little spat here in this last episode, he says, how does the son of a steward out of Dorne come to basically sleep with the queen, which it was really funny. So again, that got brought up in this episode. I had to laugh because it even got worse. They said, again, this makes me further think that Gwayne just might not know where Blackhaven is, because he said to him, how does the son of a steward from Dorne? I don't know. That's never referenced as like who he gets his Dornish blood from, but maybe that's what the show is trying to make, I guess. That it's like, maybe it's the dad that's from Dorne, but he says the son of a steward from Dorne. Like, he leaves it at that. Like, it's almost like he's a steward of a castle in Dorne. He doesn't, say from the Marcher lands or the Dornish Marches or Blackhaven. So I don't know. The mystery continues. Is Gwayne just a complete douchebag whenever he gets upset and feels threatened? Or is the man just simply geographically challenged? He did know where Harrenhal was from Duskendale. I will give him that. Maybe it's just whenever he gets around Dorne, Stormlands, maybe that's just one of those places he got slipped up on as a kid in his lessons. That's all I got to say about Gwayne and making Dornish jokes to Kristen Cole for now. Again, let us continue to speculate. Does Gwayne just not know what he's talking about, or is he just being a complete douchebag, knowing that will get under Kristen's skin? I'm going to go with the latter, but this last episode confused me a little bit more. Okay, I'm done. Okay, let's stay in this general direction before we move on. Just a couple left. Our eyes did not deceive us when we saw the preview for the finale, and it looked like a Hightower army with a blue dragon flying overhead. No, that was not it. We were not wrong. That was the Hightower army. That was Tessarion flying overhead. And no, we did not get a close-up glimpse of Daeron, the daring Targaryen. We did not get that. So suspicions were true. Like, I didn't think that we would see him, but again, all the talk about Daeron the past episode or so, and talk of the Hightower army marching north, up from out of Old Town, I did think that there was maybe a chance. And again, I thought this is like the best kept secret ever, that we never got a casting announcement for Daeron. But no, it was just like a little fleeting glimpse of the Hightower army marching with a blue dragon flying overhead. So this is where they're at here. This is where Old Town, and they are marching north. They will cross through Honeyholt there and House Beesbury. They got a fucking decision to make. They're eventually going to get up to Highgarden too. They kind of have a decision to make. So I'm curious to see next season, more so curious with the latter, and with the Tyrells deal. I wonder if the show will go in a different direction and make them pick a side and involve them. Because they're kind of in the way here whenever you march up out of Old Town and you make your way to the Rose Road. So we'll see what they do with that, but I just wanted to talk about that since we're already in the south. Okay, let's make our way over to Dritmark here, and we get actually a pretty good scene. But first, we do get Rhaenyra there. She's talking to Corlys. Corlys very highly recommending her, strike sooner than later. Don't let them get their strength. You have numbers right now. Basically, let's go for a jugular shot. I did love how Rhaenyra references Daeron as the third brother. She doesn't even call him by his name, just the third brother. She's never been around him before. He's literally in the book. He's older. I think he's of an age actually with Jace, which is funny. That just shows you that Alicent's kids in general are older than Rhaenyra's kids. But he's of an age with Jace, which is so funny that Rhaenyra in the show references him as the third brother. She would have never come across him before. He's just lived in Old Town his entire life. We get a very, very good scene between Alyn and Corlys, where I thought all along that Alyn was just this soft-spoken, silent, just, keep your head down, follow your orders, and just do the job, no bullshit kind of guy. Not someone that has a lot of emotion, but Corlys finally pushed him too far there with the, hey, I'm trying to be the Dad of the Year candidate, and he goes off, right? And again, very justly goes off. He points out a lot of things that I think are really strong points that most people would probably feel towards someone that all of a sudden, out of the blue, 20 plus years into life, wants to be around and wants to be your dad. I've seen you our whole lives walking around with your true-born son, Laenor, and then Lena, your true-born kids, marching around in your super fancy clothes and garb and going to your fancy lavish balls. And where were we then? We were down here, fending for ourselves, just trying to get by, blue collar work, hardly making enough, struggling to get food. And now all of a sudden it's you want to come down here and be this big shining star in his life. And as I'm watching that, I'm thinking, you know what? I think actually Alyn was silently or quietly trying to, tell Corlys this within the past couple episodes, when Corlys is trying to give him the nice big fancy job promotion. And Alyn's like, I don't really want to do that. Are you asking me? Or are you telling me to do this? And again, I'm just maybe he's just really humble, but I think he probably just doesn't really want Corlys to, maybe he just doesn't want that from him. I don't want this handout from you now when all of a sudden you want to be present because you don't have anyone inside your castle anymore. Your family's, everyone's died. Maybe again, I thought he was just being humble. Maybe that's what he was trying to just, subtly tell Corlys. Then there was nothing subtle about his conversation with Corlys, in this finale. And I loved every second of it. I thought it was well said. I thought every point he made was absolutely spot on. I don't blame him for being pissed off. And again, I think it showed a lot of range in his character. I talked about the range that we've seen in Freddie Fox's Gwayne Hightower this season. And again, saw a lot of range there. Saw a lot of range out of Aegon in the first season or first episode or so. That changed quickly. But then getting a lot of range out of Alyn in this episode. Again, showing some emotion there that I did not know that he possessed. So hats off there to Alyn. I thought that was really well done. And the Battle of the Gullet, right? We see them sailing off into the sea, looking real badass. I love those colors, by the way. Just like that, I don't even know what you call it, like a blue-green kind of combo there. But again, just looking absolutely ready for war and bloodshed. Wish we could have seen it. See you in 2026. Okay, time for the Big Daddy finale, and we start off with straight up insubordination and just flat out disrespect from Ulf the Sot. This dude is already a fucking problem. This guy's had a dragon for 12 hours and he's got his feet kicked up on the table already. The nerve of this guy. And we know he's a jackass, right? We've seen that. We've seen enough. There's enough of a sample size with Ulf to know that he is an absolute piece of shit, a blue ribbon Obi-Wan jabroni. He sucks. And again, the way he talks to Jace, again, he doesn't know who Jace is, I guess. Hugh corrects him. He starts to shape up like a teeny tiny little bit, but he's one of those guys that no matter what he says, it always sounds like there's at least 15% sarcasm in what he's saying to you. So if you're someone that's like serious and very self-conscious right now, like Jace is, he's probably questioning every single word, every like little like change of tone in his voice that Ulf articulates towards him. Look, I got to be real with you guys. Jace came off small in this episode. He looked like a baby dragon, an absolute baby dragon. He comes marching in there, chest puffed out, ready to show Ulf who's boss. And he does nothing but just tell him how much you should respect me. You should respect this castle and keep in my mother's crown, yada, yada, yada. He just doesn't. I've seen people say like, well, what would you expect him to do? What did you want him to do? He can't just kill him. The guy's got a dragon right now. He's got Silverwing. Well, I didn't say that he should kill Ulf. Okay. But he should have slapped the shit out of Ulf. Okay. He should have set a lesson. He should have set the tone. I don't care if, he looks like he's 5'7" or whatever. I don't care. You're the crown prince. You're in that world. Again, I can't remember how old he is right now in the show, but in that world, he's looked at as a man grown. And this dude got his feet kicked up on the fucking table that you guys have been plotting at now for over a season, trying to win this war. This dude feels like, he comes waltzing in here like he's Aegon the Conqueror reborn. You got to send a message. Look, if you want to give Ulf a second chance, right? Whatever. Give him the benefit of the doubt. First impression sucked, but maybe he didn't know who I was. Now he'll toe the line a little bit more. Whatever. Fine. When you go to dinner and he continues to act like a jackass, that's when you need to step up. Adam's giving him the side eye, like, what the fuck is this dude all about? This dude's crazy. Hugh's like, this dude sucks. This guy's giving all of us a bad name right now. Rhaenyra has to even call him out. And he continues to just completely shit on everyone. Rhaenyra has been shit on in that castle by more of her subordinates this season than probably some kings have been shit on by, the common folk or X, Y, or Z over like a 10-year reign. She has faced an insane amount of disrespect underneath her own roof. Jace there, that being his mom, and him being the crown prince, he needs to step up and do something at that dinner table. Again, Kingsguard night, no way. Again, I know he's looking to Rhaenyra at what his order should be. Again, someone should have slapped some sense in Ulf. I'm being dead serious. I don't care what dragon. That guy could have Balerion out there waiting in the parking lot for him. I don't care. He was being such a disrespectful piece of shit that I don't know. Again, he sucks so bad, guys. He sucks so bad. We know where he's going, right? We know the story ahead, and I don't want to get into spoilers, but I'll just say the guy that's playing him is doing a great job because he's making me hate this guy so much. He is such a weasel. Hugh's at least you can look at Hugh and respect Hugh. Again, we'll see where those guys go. But not good stuff from Jace. More insecurities. Bela's even like, yo, dude, you got to quit moping around. This dude has got the biggest frowny face at Dragonstone. Thought we were going to get the gullet, but we didn't. See you in 2026. All right. Now for the official grand finale of this part here. Hey, did you think it was cool when Rhaenyra went to King's Landing to talk to Alicent? Well, guess what? Wouldn't it be cool if we reversed the roles and Alicent went to Dragonstone to talk to Rhaenyra? Hey, that's what we got. I don't know. I thought it was dumb. They need to teach these people how to use like flu powder, like in Harry Potter, so you can just have these conversations through the fireplace. This is crazy. How much time that takes to travel again on ship and then land to get to these places. Again, I know it's quick on Dragonback, but again, when you're doing it like everybody else has to do it, it takes a long time. So whatever. I think it's getting a little corny at this point with that. But again, they repay the favor, and Alicent tells Rhaenyra that in what do you say, 3 days time? Short amount of time. Aemond is going to depart from King's Landing atop Vhagar, and the city, the Red Keep, King's Landing, will be undefended. Okay, Dreamfire will be there, but again, Helena's going to go ahead and open up the doors for you guys, and she's going to yield the throne to you. Okay, so you're good. Hey, that sounds good to Rhaenyra, right? That doesn't sound too bad. Just wait a couple more days, and we'll go and take King's Landing. But the thing is, Aegon's got to pay. And Alicent, even in that moment initially, is like, oh, but wait, like, does he got fucked up a little bit? Does he have to? And Rhaenyra's like, are you kidding me? Like, yes, he is a traitor to the crown. His head has to drop. Alicent doesn't hold her ground for very long because all it takes is one little nudge from Rhaenyra. And she's like, yeah, okay, I guess we can make that happen. That's no big deal. Like, she's at the end of her cable term and she's just trying to get HBO, one more month out of HBO free. And then sure, I'll re-up for another year. No big deal. Yeah, I guess we can make that happen. Sure. So that's the plan right now. But as we know, again, shortly after that, we know that Aegon's gone. He dipped. So we got to wait another 2 years to see what happens with the little King's Landing portion there. Obviously, the gullet, we know where the gullet's at. Gullet's right there, right below Dritmark, going into Blackwater Bay. That's what the Valyrians have been blocking off the entire season there, so no trait can get in or out of King's Landing, right? We saw what all the grief that's caused. So again, to kick off at the beginning of next season, Gullet, King's Landing, I would imagine all within the first 3 or 4 episodes again. It looks like they're going to do 8 episodes again based on what they told us. I saw again Ryan Condal just dance around how many episodes next season's going to be. Well, I haven't really talked to HBO yet, but I think the precedent that we set at the beginning of the season may be what sees us through all the way to the, I don't know, some mystery speech that I don't know. Why he could have just said, yeah, I'm not sure yet. Well, I'll get back to you. He dances around. So every time I read a Ryan Condal quote, he's just dancing around everything. He's dancing like a dragon. So that's it there with Dragonstone. Much like Harrenhal, much like King's Landing, it's been a long season here. And it's time to say goodbye to it. For now, I'm not mad about it. Let's see you in 2026. Episode MVP time, and for the second straight week, it is Rhaenyra Targaryen with really no other competition. She suffered no casualties, no defeats in this episode for a season finale that's really good, especially after how good she looked at the end of last episode. Usually, Game of Thrones style, they will knock you in the mouth and quickly remind you just how fast you can sink back down to the floor. That didn't happen for her in this episode. She goes to Harrenhal, she gets clarity with Daemon. Daemon bends the knee. That whole weird little secret mysterious backstabbing that was possibly looming there with Daemon taking her throne. That's been extinguished. We don't have to worry about that anymore. Daemon had all the High Lords of the Riverlands there assembled for her, and they all bent the knee. They're ready to go. Really, just Rhaenyra's just as powerful. She's more powerful now than what she started the season as, which is a nice little culmination for her at the end of the season. So it's not really just episode MVP. She could probably make the argument she's a season MVP. Rhaenyra stands stronger now than she did at the beginning of the season, despite losing Meleys at Rook's Rest with Rhaenys. That was obviously a big blow for her, but she's rebounded nicely since then. In the past couple episodes, she's added 3 Dragon Riders. She's right on the brink of adding a 4th. If we can just get Rhaena and Sheepstealer a little bit of clarity there, if we can just get that done. I thought that was going to happen this episode. She would have really been nice sitting pretty then, but she's gotten stronger up in the air. by adding the 3 dragons. Again, despite losing Meleys, she's gotten stronger on land by adding all the river lords. We've got the Northmen marching south. We saw them walking across the twins there in the Riverlands and House Frey and all that stuff that Jace had arranged a few episodes back. And then we are going to, I don't think we did see them though, right? We didn't see the Knights of the Vale marching out. So I don't know. Maybe we got to wait for Rhaena to bend Sheepstealer to her will, and then maybe Lady Jane will realize that she's okay to let loose 15,000 soldiers from the Vale to join Rhaenyra as well. So again, 3 dragons the past couple episodes she's added. She's right on the brink of adding a 4th. And we've got the River Lords, we've got the Northmen marching south, 2,000 of them, and then we got 15,000 soldiers coming out of the Vale. She has right here at Dritmark, she has the Valyrian Navy at her disposal here along this little east coast. Obviously, right next to King's Landing is too. Very beneficial to have that. And let me say right now, the biggest free agent left on the board here in this game here, this Dance of Dragons, the Red Kraken, Lord Dalton Greyjoy here out of Pike. He's a big get for whoever can get him. He's huge. I'll make the argument that he's an even bigger catch for Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra has the Valyrians covering her east coast right here. She could have the Greyjoy and the Ironborn patrolling the west coast. And who's on the west coast? It's her enemy. It's the Lannisters, right? The Lannisters are already through the Golden Tooth, going into the river. I'm sorry, there's a Golden Tooth. Going through the Golden Tooth into the Riverlands. And I would imagine leaving their castles lightly fortified, because who else is there? Now, again, are they like stupid? Do they not think that, hey, maybe the Greyjoys will use this time to come down here and attack us? Yeah, right, maybe. But if Rhaenyra can get the Red Kraken, again, like I said, she's wreaking havoc in the waters here on the eastern coast. She then has her western coast covered as well, wrecking her enemies there. Those are all her enemies. So that's perfect, right? She can go there, or he can go there and antagonize them, and then make your way down to Old Town as well. Again, I don't know if the Red Wine Navy will be there waiting for you, but again, if Rhaenyra can add Rhaena to Sheepstealer and Dalton Greyjoy to her fleet, pretty impressive on paper there. Again, land, air, and sea. Pretty impressive. I know, we're speculating on Rhaena and Greyjoy right now, but again, the dragon she's added the past couple episodes, the foot soldiers, and again, the Valyrians getting back ready to go out in the water. Rhaenyra's looking pretty good right now. She wins episode MVP. Okay, guys, final thoughts and score time here for Season 2's finale, The Queen Whoever Was. In short, I did not enjoy the episode. I'd give it a 5. It's the lowest ranked score for me this season. I know, and I even said this in a poll, like, is it a really good episode, like, in a vacuum, but just a crummy and shitty finale? Yeah, like, I wouldn't argue with anyone that would say that, but I can't help but just look at the episode and it being a finale, like, as one, like they're joined at the hip. I just didn't enjoy it. I didn't. Again, like House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones, their floor is always going to be higher than any other normal show. Are there moments that I really enjoyed? Did I like the Harrenhal stuff in this episode? Yes, I did. Did I like some of the dialogue and the conversations we saw at King's Landing, the Gwayne and Kristen conversation there in the woods? Yes, I enjoyed all that stuff. But to go this whole entire season, especially how season 1 ends, and it ends with a banger, to go this whole season and only get Rook's Rest as like our only big battle, it's disappointing. Again, right at the end of season 1, all right, it's time for war. We go to war. There's one battle episode in this whole season. I don't know how or why they couldn't do the gullet in this episode, or better yet, let me rephrase that. I know how they could have done that. They could have had an episode 9 and 10. They condensed it. It was 10 episodes season 1. We go down to 8 episodes for season 2. I would be singing a different song right now if I watched this episode as an episode that's going to have 2 more following it before the season's over. It would set up episodes 9 and 10 to potentially be as dynamic as season 6 Battle of the Bastards followed by the Winds of Winter in Game of Thrones. Could be, right? Those are lofty expectations and a high bar I'm setting there. But again, this was a good setup episode, right? We see what happens at the end with the Valyrian fleet. We know what's coming there with the gullet. We're talking about King's Landing, right? We see the Hightower army marching out of the south. We know that starts to get interesting. Said in the last, just wait till we get to the Reach. We're going to get to the Reach, and there's going to be a lot of action in the Reach. We're setting up a lot of good stuff there. You get an episode 9 and 10 this season. We're probably seeing some of that. We're definitely seeing the Gullet. We might not get King's Landing, but maybe some action with the Hightowers. Maybe you get to see Daeron. I just don't understand cutting this down to 8 episodes this season. And I'm sure the writers of the show could give you some like awesome, phenomenal explanation as to why, but when you go this whole season and you're talking about going to war, and there's literally one battle episode, which was awesome. It was a great episode. And then that's it. Nothing's happened since Rook's Rest. Fuck all has happened. That's disappointing. And again, I've said this before, it takes 2 years now to make these shows where you used to be able to count on Game of Thrones seasons 1 through 6 coming out every single April. Every April. There is, I think, one season in there where it came out like March 30th or something like that. But you get what I'm saying. Until you got to those last 2 seasons where they tried to blow the train off the tracks, you could count on it coming out every April. Now, this is an easier pill to swallow if this was coming out next June. The fact is, it's not. See you in 2026. It's a long time to wait. And again, they just seemed like they fucked off all season. Daemon at Harrenhal was slow. Rhaenyra's scenes at Dragonstone were slow. All the stuff at King's Landing with Alicent wondering what her purpose in life is, Aegon sitting in, the ICU. It just gets boring. It gets old. Even some of the scenes that they've had with Larys, like they can't recapture that same energy and magic that they had with like Littlefinger and Varys when they're in King's Landing in Game of Thrones. Like it's like again, I said it before. It's like a Diet Coke version of it. This season's just ultimately been, for me, more boring, more drawn out than it's been exciting, which is unfortunate. Again, so those are just my biggest complaints. Again, I hate seeing this made into an 8-episode season. My eyeballs roll out of my head every single time I see a show do that. The Last of Us is doing it right now, where they're going from a 9-episode first season to a 7-episode second season. Things are going to be rushed. Where in this scenario, it was the exact opposite. They made it a shorter season. They didn't rush anything. They just made it slow as shit. And there was no payoff at the end. There was zero payoff at the end of the season to say, holy shit, look at what just happened. And it's almost so egregious and borderline negligent that they had a bunch of people in a room that signed off on, this is how this season's going to end. We're not going to do the Battle of the Gullet. And that's all I'm really saying. Why couldn't we have had the Battle of the Gullet this episode? And if you didn't want to make it this episode, why the fuck was there not an episode 9 and 10? That's it. If you don't want to make an episode 8, make an episode 9 and 10 and make the Battle of the Gullet happen somewhere in those last 2 episodes. Please, for the fucking love of God. I was watching the end of that episode, and this is when you truly know that you are right and fucked. When you're watching a TV show that you're expecting greater things to happen in than what's been presented to you up to that point. And whenever you hit the pause button and you check to see how many minutes are left in the episode, and you're like, fuck. That's when you know it's bad. Again, that is literally a moment. There's something that goes off in a person's brain where they are like, I was expecting something to happen by now, and it's not. Let me hit the pause button. Let's see how much time's left. Oh, there's only, I forget what it was. I think you said there was like 20 minutes left or 23 minutes left. And I'm like, we're not going to get the Battle of the Gullet in 23 minutes. And then the credits roll when I look, and there's 15 minutes left in the episode when the fucking credits roll. So there was only 8 minutes in the episode left after that when I initially looked. But again, I paused it and I looked and I said, yeah, this isn't good, fellas. This is bad. We're not getting anything. We're not getting anything in this episode. And then that was it. So very, very disappointing. I can promise you, if there was a camera on me watching that episode live, I was not a happy camper. No. Not happy. No, I was pretty pissed. I was shocked when the credits rolled. I was shocked. It may have been some of the most shocked I've been in a show since the last season of Thrones, in the hogwash that we had put on our TV screens back then. But it was just really bad. A couple of things to just throw out this season. Some personal shout outs for some of the people on here that I thought did a phenomenal job. Sir Simon Strong was absolutely phenomenal this season. Again, I'm doing this man a disservice by not looking up his name, but from his wit to his charm, his caring, his love, his duty, his loyalty, his honor, all the way up to the man's clothes and his attire the past couple episodes. He busted out the hot suit here the past couple episodes, and he's really, I saw someone put online, like, that's where Harrenhal's budget's all gone to Sir Simon Strong's ensemble. Shout out to whoever that person was. You're absolutely correct. It's amazing that he's got that little get up there in his closet waiting for him. But he's been great. The guy, again, he's been such a cool, funny character. Another person referenced before in the comments that he reminds them of just an older version of Samwell Tarly, and I completely agree with that. Shout out to that person again. I'm sorry, but I completely agree with you. He definitely has Samwell Tarly vibes. Just a true, honest, legitimate dude that wants to do the right thing, and it's not something you see often in Westeros, and he plays the part very well. He's even funny without trying to be funny. When he was clapping behind Daemon and Rhaenyra, like, you legitimately could feel that he was just happy that there wasn't like some, Western cowboy showdown here in Harrenhal involving dragons, and that Daemon and Rhaenyra were able to, again, put their differences aside and reunite. And as Daemon bends the knee, Sir Simon Strong in the background clapping. The guy's just happy. He's a great character. He lives on to go to season 3. I'm happy about that. I said before, I'm happy about Freddie Fox. He's been excellent as Gwayne Hightower. He lives on for season 3. Hopefully we get more of him and Cole, as I think the two, I've said it already, create a very interesting dynamic duo with each other. A lot of contrast between them. And it creates funny, humorous moments that we just don't get a lot of in House of the Dragon. I think he's been very good as well. Fabian Frankel, I think, has been phenomenal this season as Kristen Cole. He's great. He plays a great Kristen Cole. I enjoy the guy a lot. Ewan Mitchell playing Aemond. Again, all the actors are doing a great job. That's, that's not, and all my criticisms, mainly as it is for probably at the end of Game of Thrones, it's for the showrunners, the writers, the people that are making the decisions. I just don't get them. Wish I could do a press conference after each episode. Like you would see a football coach. Oh boy. I guess that's kind of what Twitter is. But Ewan Mitchell's been wonderful. I've said it before. To see him play Baby Monk on The Last Kingdom, a good buddy to Uhtred, son of Uhtred, all the way to playing Prince Aemond Targaryen's quite a leap, and I think he's been phenomenal. Again, I say that word a lot, but it's fitting. Phenomenal. Tom Glencarney as Aegon. I know we haven't seen him the past couple episodes, but I really thought the range that he's provided this season and seeing Aegon take over, particularly that first episode where you see him try to legit be like a decent guy for a second and reimburse people their sheep to make them whole. Good, again, he's just trying to do a good guy thing there. So he's been a great character. Daemon's Daemon, even though Daemon's essentially like locked up in a cage, like he still like produces funny moments as well. Emma Darcy's great as Rhaenyra as well. Just like to see that character get out of the castle more, which they've been able to do the past couple episodes. We see Rhaenyra go to Harrenhal in this episode, and she confronts Adam at the beginning of episode 7. Again, it's just so much time locked up in the same place that naturally you just get bored, man. Yeah, you just get bored. What else is there really to say? But again, it's nothing to do with the actors. The actors are all phenomenal. The actors are all great. I think they do a splendid job. It's like I said, it's the shot callers out there. So, well, this season certainly had its peaks and valleys, but again, more valleys and peaks. It's had its high moments. I think it's had more low or mediocre moments. The floor for a Game of Thrones universe show, for me at least, is always just going to be a lot higher than any other standard show. Even if it's a 5.0 episode or a 6.0 episode, I'm still probably finding some entertaining stuff in there that will tickle my fancy. Whether it's a character making their first appearance, I'll be pumped next season just whenever we see Daeron. That'll like make me just give it, but like by default, like it'll at the lowest it could be is a 7.5 because we got to finally see Daeron Targaryen. So again, it's even in its worst moments and boring moments, it's still a really fun show to watch just because of the lore and all that stuff we're finally seeing adapted for the screen. But largely a disappointing season, and we've had a couple days now to stew this over and to think. Like sometimes in the heat of the moment, if I would have made this video Sunday night, I would have been fuming a lot more. But here we are now on Tuesday night, and I still think it is an absolute ass season finale. that is such a bad season finale. And I'm excluding the series finale from Game of Thrones, but in regards to just a season finale and what you expect and the build up to that point, for it to produce so little and to give you like the literally no payout at all. It's horrifically disappointing. And like I said before, borderline negligent. I can't believe they signed off on that. I would love to see like a camera in the writer's room talking this one over to see, okay, is there anyone going to speak up in the room that's just going to be like, yo, is this how this is going to end? There's not like another page or two in that script. So that's it. Disappointing season finale. But hey, this has been a lot of fun, guys. I made this channel here, at the start of House of the Dragon to talk. Well, I made it a little bit before that, but in mind, I had the approaching House of the Dragon season 2 coming, and all of the people that have reached out and subscribed and comment and watch. I see the watch hours and the comments and all that stuff, and I try to keep up with it, and it blows me away how much of you guys spend your free time watching this goofy stuff and interacting. And I just want to let y'all know that I really appreciate it. Again, people have busy lives and a lot going on in their lives, and what you choose to do when you have a free moment says a lot about it. And I just want to let you guys know that I appreciate the hell out of it. It means a lot. This is not it. We will not be back in 2026. We're going to be back way before that. I'm thinking of some stuff to do next here with House of the Dragon done. I like making videos for just general A Song of Ice and Fire stuff. So I've got some stuff coming out there. I do plan on doing a Game of Thrones rewatch and then just doing a video for each episode, kind of like what I do here. Probably going to be shorter, not probably going to be running 40 minutes per episode. Because I have a big plan that I want to do once I've watched all 73 episodes. I have a little plan. It involves ranking the episodes, and I'll leave it at that. So there's a macro scheme I have in my brain here for going back and rewatching Game of Thrones. So stick with me. Probably got another video or two, shorter ones coming out this week, just about other random stuff that I saw in the episode. But drop me a comment. Let me know what you guys think. What did you think about this season finale? Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? I'm not going to ask if you want some more of it, though, because I don't think anybody wants to see this season finale ever again. But hey, I appreciate it, guys. As always, thank you for your time. Thank you for reaching out. It means a lot. If you enjoyed this video, please like. If you want to see more, please subscribe, and I'll catch you guys soon. See ya.